Welcome back to GCTV and welcome back to Super Saturday as we stand by and get ready for all of the action to come to us live from Miami Beach. There are valuable championship points up for grabs. There is a GCL title up for grabs. And not forget, later on this evening, of course, there will be an LGCT Grand Prix title as well as we finally make our way back to Miami Beach for the first time since 2019. My name is Mark Lewis. Thank you for joining us. And let's remind you where we are stateside in Miami.
Miami, a city of white sandy beaches. On the island, the winds will continue to blow hot and the competition will be at spike. Miami Beach is the second stage for the world's best riders. In this magic city, class, sportsmanship, and impressive jumping. Stay tuned for Longines Global Champions Tour at Miami Beach from the 14th to 16th of April.
Now, traditionally, Miami Beach has been one of the hardest courses on any GCL stage. And we were all quite surprised when there were 4 teams on double clear at the end of GCL round 1. Of those 4 teams, of course, is the Paris Panthers, who at 0.5 seconds were just that much faster than Madrid in motion to make sure that they were the team in pole position. They will be the team to come out last, and they will be the team that seemingly could be the closest to the GCL title in Miami for 2022. Let's take you back to those strong performances of Derek Kenny and new man Ben Mayer in his Navy jumper as to how they guided Paris Panthers to pole position for today's second round.
It's Paris Panthers with Derek Kenny on Chic Chic and Ben Mayer to make his Panthers debut on Falconsville HB. Derek Kenny and Chic Chic. By Comme Il Faut and Contendron, horse that makes its GCL debut, owned by the Vlog Show stables. Twisting and turning, spectacular jumping through that double. Here's a clear for Derek Kenny and for the Paris Panthers on Chic Chic. Ben Mayer on that good horse, Faltic HB by Baltic VDL and Concorde. Oh, and he jumps these combinations like a star. There's Faltic HB. Comes into the double. Another one, the third of 3. And he's heading for the double clear. And how is he for the time? That looks good. They're going to be quicker. They're going to take the lead. And Paris Panthers 1:33.20. 2 clears from Derek Kenny and Ben Mayer. And Paris Panthers take the lead. Push Hamburg Giants to second and Berlin Eagles now in third.
Chic Chic and Faltic HB, Derek Kenny and Ben Mayer both going clear for Paris Panthers, and they're in pole position and will be the team that everybody is chasing by the end of the afternoon. Will they be able to pick up victory and make up crucial championship points on Stockholm Hearts, who have found themselves in all sorts of trouble? What a turnaround from what we saw in Doha in the opening event of the year to what we saw in round 1 on Thursday. Let's go straight into the heart of the ring. Frederick de Backer standing by for us. Frederick, welcome to Super Saturday. Welcome to the second round of GCL. A real surprise by Stockholm Hearts. They seem to have responded in kind. Tell us the changes. This is a real championship call from the contenders.
One more time, as I say, it is not every day anyone wins a Grand Prix. Hannah Selleck does it today.
Well, they bring in 2 new horses, Katanga van het Dingeshof and H&M Legend of Love Mark, and that was expected to see those horses here in Miami. It was a little bit of a surprise not to see them in round 1, and maybe they've gambled and they've lost. Let's be honest, Moya van der Bisschop jumped a great round coming out on 4, but the 12 of Zayado and Olivier Philipparts, that is quite a big surprise. Take the 12 to the 4, that makes it 16, and they sit second last at the moment. Now, Zayado, a horse that had jumped 4 out of 5 clears in the 2021 season for London Knights, so we had some expectations for Zayado. It was understandable to bring the horse like Zayado onto the team if you look at his statistics, but if you then look back and see that Zayado had mainly jumped with Nicola here in Wellington over the winter and not with Olivier, then you start to think that maybe that was not the right call to make to bring that horse into the team as first to go.
I like the way you say that, perhaps gambling and losing. A double horse change for Stockholm Hearts. We did catch up with Olivier Philipparts, who spoke to us after his round. Here's his reaction.
Well, obviously a bit disappointed. It wasn't great. No, the first part of the course was okay, and then the second one, I had 1 down, which had 2 more on the end. So today was not what we hoped for, so not a good start for us now. I'll change horses for Saturday. Saturday I jump the other horse, so hopefully that makes a difference and we can catch up some spots for Saturday.
So Olivier Philippart's understandably frustrated, understandably disappointed with his team's performance, 12-4 for the Philipparts brothers. And all of a sudden, Stockholm Hearts, the championship favourites, find themselves on 16 overnight going into the second round of GCL. And even with Katanga and Legend of Love coming into the mix, even if they were to jump a double clear today, do they stay in contention? How far up the table would they move on 16? Still only if they were to jump a double clear. So questions being asked of Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M. What can they deliver today? And how contentious will that round then be for them? However, ironically, speaking of Stockholm Hearts, we need to talk about the defending champions, Falconsville United. They were disappointing in Doha. They disappointed once again in Miami in the opening round. Edwina Tops-Alexander coming home in 8. Laura Kraut coming home in 8. Don't forget, Laura Kraut making her debut for her new team in 2022. Frederik de Backer, let's see if we can bring you back into the mix here as well. We talk about disappointment for Stockholm Hearts, but there is disappointment for Falconsville United as well. It certainly feels like it's too early to call off their championship fight. But surely, Frederik, 16 going into the second round today, if they drop points once more in Doha, like they did in Doha, is it over already for Falconsville?
It's very difficult to say, but if you historically look at the championship teams, the teams that were crowned champions, they all had one blip. They all had one difficult stage where they were last, second last, third last, something in that order. For Falconsville United, if they don't get out that last position, it's their second time out of 2 stages, and it feels like they are way off from becoming...
Oh dear, we seem to have just lost Frederik de Backer. Apologies. We'll try and get him back on. Communication has been a little bit difficult from Miami to here. So we'll try and get Frederik de Backer back and continue to get his thoughts and his reaction. Edwina Tops-Alexander did speak to GCTV to go on and give us her reaction and her thoughts. I don't think either of us
expected that, to be honest. Actually, my horse jumped great. He jumped very good. I thought he was going to jump clear. I had a super warm-up and he was relaxed, and I was quite surprised. I didn't know that I'd had the first fence down. And then I got a nice distance and maybe a little off on the plank, and I had to give it a little bit of leg, and then he just got a little bit flat at that. So I was disappointed with the result, but I was happy with the way he jumped. So
Falconsville United, unfortunately, were in all sorts of trouble. Edwina Tops-Alexander complimenting fellow Casterfield, saying that fellow Casterfield jumped really well, especially in the warm-up. Remember, her faults came really late as well. So for a large part of Tops-Alexander's round, she would have been feeling really, really strong. And unfortunately for her, 2 late faults, seeing her come home in 8. And as we mentioned, Laura Kraut, new to the team as well on Kung Fu. That combination, of course, incredibly well tested, coming home in 8 as well, leaving Falconsville United on 16, and a relatively slow 16 as well, which means that they'll be the very first team out the gate, much like Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M. If they were to even jump double clear today, are they in the running? Can they work their way up the championship table? Can they move up the leaderboard? If they were to remain on 16, it does look as if the championship fight is starting off in a really difficult way for Falconsville United. Yes, it is still early. Yes, we can't get ahead of ourselves, but as Frederik pointed out, there are some early signs of trouble in the defending champions, and things are not going incredibly smoothly for the winners of the 2021 Global Champions League season. Now, there is a lot still to come, of course, throughout the rest of the night. As promised, this is Super Saturday. There is a second round of GCL. There is a Grand Prix still to come, an LGCT Grand Prix of Miami still to follow in a few moments. I'm not sure if we have Frederik de Backer back on the line. I'm hoping that we do. If that is the case, I would like to try and go back to him in a few moments. Frederik, we spoke about Falconsville a few moments ago, but I want to try and bring up the conversation around the double clears in Miami, because we've heard extensively as to how this is a very difficult course. We have a handful of double clears. Were you expecting it? Could we finally see a double clear at the end of a Miami GCL by the end of today?
Let's take it step by step. Let's first talk about the first round. Never before did we have 4 teams on double clear going into this second round. So that is a surprise in terms of statistics. You also have to say that the first day here in Miami Beach was under meter 55, let's call it like that. Is that because Juliana Vezzani has got the traveling in mind, horses traveling from Europe over here to Miami Beach? Probably. Will the second round be bigger? We'll walk it in a minute and we'll know. Still, the influences are the same. The wind, the waves, the ocean, the proximity of the arena, of hospitality, of fans, of staff, everything. It's really narrow, so that hasn't changed. But maybe, we've discussed that already a few times, maybe the fact that it's first Miami and then Mexico, where in the past it was first Mexico and then Miami, maybe that has the big impact. In Mexico with a big bulky fence where you can have a rub and not have the fault, where you can really gallop, and then come here to Miami as it was in the past, where then you have that much lighter material, much more delicate material. Now it's the other way around. Now it starts with a delicate material. The horses don't have that gallop in them just yet. We go to Mexico in 2 weeks' time. Maybe that has got the big impact. We'll have to wait and see on what Ujano Vizani will build to see if we will get a clean sheet. It will be the first time in Miami history if a team would come out here on a clean sheet.
Frederick, there are major championship points up for grabs today. If Berlin Eagles perform well, if Hamburg Giants perform well, if Madrid in Motion, Paris Panthers, if they all perform well, there is a golden opportunity for them to catch in or catch up with Stockholm Hearts powered by H&M. Are we going to see a serious momentum shift come the end of today as far as the championship is concerned, especially from Paris Panthers?
That is what this makes so exciting. In Doha, we thought that Stockholm Hearts were on that single height all the way on top, and then Falconsville United, Shanghai Swans and Paris Panthers in, what was it, 10th, 11th and 12th. Now it's the other way around. It's Paris Panthers on top after round one. Stockholm Hearts and Falconsville United way down. So this is a great moment early in the season for Paris Panthers to redeem themselves, to climb back from that hit that they took, that knock that they took in Doha. That's one story. The other story is that with those two teams, Paris Panthers and Stockholm Hearts, having those two very opposite results in Doha and in Miami, that a new team like Berlin Eagles, maybe even Hamburg Giants, why not even Madrid in Motion, could be the leaders of the GCL after this stage, because they sit there on that double clear overnight and with that good result from Doha as well. And it will be for the first time in a long time in Global Champions League that not Falconsville United, not Shanghai Swans, not London Knights, not Paris Panthers would be on top of that leaderboard. So it's very exciting to see who is going to perform here, but also who is going to lead the championship after Miami.
Perhaps it is not as clear-cut as many of us suggested in the early stages that Stockholm Hearts were going to be the clear-cut favourites. Perhaps are getting a very early lesson that this may well be a far, far more exciting and enticing season. We spoke to Ben Mayer, who caught up with GCTV to talk about his brand new team and his ambitions for the 2022 season.
It's exciting to be on a new team, but it feels strange. I was a big part of the London Knights for a long time, but very lucky to be asked to be on the Paris Panthers. It's, I think, not biased, but one of the stronger teams out there this year, and hopefully I can help them to have a good season.
Hopefully he can, and he certainly will. There's no denying it. We spoke about Faltic HB because we know that so much has been spoken about Ben Mayer and Explosion, and even Ben Mayer and Ginger Blue. But no one really expected Ben Mayer and Faltic HB to come to Miami and deliver a clear as impressively as he did. No surprises. He's decided to make no changes for the second round, and we'll once again see him and Faltic HB come out. What does the result mean for his team?
Both of my horses were great. I've had a good day. If they keep jumping like this all weekend, I'll be very happy by Sunday. I think here's about selecting the right horses. I've picked two horses that I believe are good for this venue. I've made mistakes in the past here. And I have been here in Florida for the beginning part of the season, so they're a little bit acclimatized to the weather, and I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of an advantage for this week. We have high goals here, but it's horses, anything can happen, but we definitely have a good start, and we have to wait to see what our team manager decides who's riding Saturday, but we definitely are in the right position going ahead. Hope to win. We always hope to win, but if we ride as we did today, you always need a little bit of luck with this sport.
It still might take some time getting used to Ben Mayer in that navy blue jumper. Paris Panthers will be very, very happy to have him and his wonderful horsepower throughout the rest of the season. Already starting to show some serious impact in just the second event of the year. Now, Frederick de Backer back with us in Miami. Frederick, if I take a look at the starting list, it doesn't look as if there are too many changes, especially in the top half of the table. Take us through what stood out for you. What have the teams done? What significant changes have been made? And what can we expect ahead of the second round?
Well, 8 changes have been made. I think it's 6 horse changes, 5 rider changes across the whole board. Biggest change maybe, or the most that will stand out, is the fact that Derek Kenny goes from Chic Chic to Volnay-du-Bois de Ville, a 5-star Grand Prix, 4-star Grand Prix winner, I'm sorry. So that is to make an even stronger statement about the power of Paris Panthers. You mentioned it, the horsepower of Ben Meer, but also Derek Kenny still with more and more horsepower coming. That's a change that stands out for me. Another one is Rome Gladiators. Gladiators, they take off Shane Breen and bring in Zoe Conter alongside Nina Malvet, who jumped clear in round 1. That's a 22-year-old and a 23-year-old on the team for Rome Gladiators, and that's a team sitting on just 4 faults. So that's an exciting team to watch just as well. But it is remarkable to see that we have got 8 teams sitting inside one rail, and that most of those teams didn't make any changes. So they want to stick with what they have. They think that their horses are feeling comfortable, feeling well, are settled in this arena, and they want to come to battle here on this Grand de Longines arena in Miami Beach. But mainly that change of Rome Gladiators and of course the Paris Panthers, that fresh horse in Volnay-du-Bois de Ville is what stands out for me.
So it does look as if there's a lot of confidence in what took place in the opening round. Frederick, you're inside the ring. It all looks wonderful. Take us through what you feel has stood out. What has Uliana Vazani done for round 2? And what for you seems to be some of the major challenges that he'll be testing the riders?
Well, to be fair, Mark, he hasn't done so much just yet. He's built a few fences, but most of it hasn't been built yet. The course building is actually on the way. So we're going to walk the course in a minute. Now, as I have you and I have your attention, you have to do this when you're in Miami, no? Let's just move over to the edge of the arena, because people really don't understand how close the beach is. Mark, this is how close the beach is. There's the ocean.
When there is a break in the commentary,
there's no time to swim.
Do you throw your shorts on when there's a break and just hop into the sea for a few moments? Is that what happens during prize giving?
It crossed my mind on many occasions, but I don't do it because I would scare the people away. I've got quite wide legs, so I don't go that far.
I think it'll be wonderful for you to take a quick break and get some sun on those legs. Well, Frederick, you're right. It is still very early stages, of course, and Uliana Vazani will be getting the course underway and preparation for it in a few moments' time. We wait to see exactly how it will be quite challenging and what he'll be testing. From what you can see, early stages, Frederick, has anything that caught at your eye?
Well, as we are going through that course already, it's a good moment to point out that one of the things that make Miami so difficult, the lightness of the material. This is vertical number 12, so that's at the end of the course. Just have a look. You can discuss the height. It's 1.55 meters, maybe just a little bit more, I think. But the lightness, 3 gaps, 3 airy rails. The stripes always jump difficult, always do. Remember Hamburg, they also have those striped rails, always jump difficult. Liverpool underneath on the landing side will catch the eye of the horses quite late. And then the wing, there's no filling, you know, there's no depth to that fence. And it's the same with that vertical over there as well. If you look at that plank right by the beach, okay, the wings of that fence are so light and so delicate that horses have nothing to back off from. And that, keeping in mind that the ocean breaks onto the beach right there. There's so much distraction. There's all the umbrellas. It's such a colorful venue around here. That's what makes Miami Beach so specific and so difficult. So it's really something completely different when we'll be heading over to Mexico. We'll have much more bulkier fences, bigger track, of course, bulkier fences, also the colors, but much more that will back the horses off. And here, it's super light material.
It certainly does look good, and there's a reason why perhaps there has still not been a double clear come the end of the weekend. Frederick, how about I say goodbye early and I say thank you and send you on your way, only if you promise to get some sun on the legs before the start of the competition that gets underway. A reminder that English, French, Chinese and Spanish will be available for you on GCTV today. We'll let Frederick go. Say goodbye to Frederick, I beg your pardon. Go and have a quick swim. Is that okay?
I don't think so. It's too cold, the water.
I'll speak to the bosses, don't worry. I will speak to the bosses. Frederik de Bakker will be back in the commentary seat a little bit later on this afternoon. A lot of action to come your way. Of course, Super Saturday here on GCTV, round 2 of the GCL and an LGCT Grand Prix of Miami. And you can catch all of it in French, English, Chinese and Spanish. But it is not just going to be about Paris Panthers today. As we mentioned, there are a handful of teams on double clear. And arguably one of the most standout teams already in the early stages of the 2022 season has to be that of the Berlin Eagles. Ludger Beerbaum in particular, having won the LGCT Grand Prix of Doha in the opening event and jumping double clear with Mila in Doha, clear in round 1 of Miami, all of a sudden now has 3 consecutive back-to-back clears and is leading, guiding, dragging that team across the line. Let's take you back to their opening performance in Miami and show you just how and why they need to be reckoned with in Miami.
Berlin Eagles now with Ludger Beerbaum. First 2 fences, Beerbaum goes for the outside turn and now into the last line. Up until here, the green and tops Alexander was clear. And now, long 4, gets there easily, stays wider and more to the outside than the others. Oh, and it's got a big touch on the plank, but he leaves it standing, and so he produces the first clear. Convincing start from Mumbai. Strong swing with the hind leg. He stays on the inside, doesn't go as wide as Beerbaum. Beerbaum finished in 72.42 with the outside turn. Nice 4. Also stays much more to the outside, then gets straight, sets him up for the plank, gives him some room, leaves it standing, double clear.
3 consecutive clears already at the start of the season for Ludger Beerbaum and Miller. And let's not forget, when you then have Christian Kukuk and Mumbai in the mix as well, it does become an incredibly dangerous team. How is Christian feeling about their team performance and where they find themselves for the Berlin Eagles at the start of the early stages of the season?
Yeah, definitely a good start for us. Yeah, we had a good feeling actually with our 2 horses here. It's always a little bit of surprise with the ring and the water. Some horses are a little bit excited, but I think our horses actually they deal quite good with it, and we are anyway very happy with a clear round start.
They certainly should be happy. Double clear for Miller and Mumbai, Ludger Beerbaum and Christian Kukuk. They will then be finding themselves on that double clear with Hamburg Giants, Madrid Emotion and Paris Panthers. And the Hamburg Giants actually become one of the big talking points as well of the early stages of the 2022 season because they were so brilliant in Doha and now all of a sudden have put another very strong performance together. This time in Miami, Jür Frieling on Fiumicino. What a wonderful pairing, jumping clear in a time of 63.08 and all of a sudden are making themselves feel like championship contenders. Bart Bless and Chris Kras were next out the gates and they too delivered a clear, slightly slower at 72.58, but the double clear is what matters. The double clear will put them in serious podium contention, and because of that and following their performance in Doha, I wonder how many people at the start of the season would have been saying that Hamburg Giants could well be a threat to the title for Paris Panthers, for Stockholm Hearts, for any of the other major teams. All of a sudden, Hamburg Giants are putting their hand up. They are putting themselves in contention, and they are trying to show that they well too could be serious title contenders. Where does that leave Madrid in motion when you have Michael van der Vleuten and Bovel Zed, that Olympic pairing? When you have anything near that quality, you know that Madrid is going to remain a threat as well. They too were very good in Doha, and now back-to-back strong performances. Michael van der Vleuten, 64.65 is where he stopped the clock on his 12-year bay. Him and Bovel delivering the goods once again. He was then followed, of course, by his teammate Eduardo Alvarez Aznar on Bentley, delivering a clear 69.06. And much like Hamburg Giants, much like Bart Bless, when you have a teammate moving as fast as Michael van der Vleuten, all of a sudden Aznar was able to just slowly take the foot off the gas, be slightly more conservative, and at a time of 69.06, deliver an important clear to keep his team double clear and put themselves essentially as the second-last team to come out the gates. Michael van der Vleuten, he has been there, he has done it all, he's seen it all. How does he feel going into round 2 of Miami?
it's anyway, it's at least a good start when you know that the horses are feeling well, and it's always just also a bit that luck you need, that everything works out well, that you can ride your course as you have planned, and yeah, we're gonna see.
Well, Madrid in Motion will be a serious threat come this afternoon. But what about the American team? So excited to get back stateside. We spoke about Miami Celtics being the home team who weren't able to really deliver the goods in the opening round. New York Empire, we know, doing so well. And everyone's favorite, second favorite team at least, Georgina Bloomberg, who spoke to us earlier on as well this week, spoke very proudly of being back stateside and very confidently as to how New York Empire were going to perform. Unfortunately for them, Spencer Smith and Dennis Lynch coming home in 4, so no double clear for them, but they are part of a large group on 4, and we know that Miami produces faults. Frederick DeBucker reminds us that there has never been a double clear winner in Miami. So the fact that they are in contention, the fact that they are just a single rail behind, means that New York Empire could well deliver a very strong performance today and find themselves very close, if not already on the podium. Spencer Smith on Theodore, Dennis Lynch on Brooklyn Heights. No changes for New York Empire. Trust and belief in the two men that were out in round 1. How will they do in round 2? We will find out. Now, Frederick spoke about Rome Gladiators, and what an exciting young lineup full of future talent, full of perhaps current talent already in 2022. They've made some changes. We'll remind you of those in a few moments' time. But let's take you back to their performance in round 1 and remind you as to how and what Rome Gladiators were able to do in the opening round. Shane Breen on Z7 Ipswich and Zoe Conte on Dawa coming out. And all of a sudden, the team looked relatively strong. Or Nina Marvelay, I beg your pardon, coming out on the clear of 67.92. And Shane Breen with just a single fence down as well at 65.68. It means, much like New York Empire, that if Rome Gladiators are able to put together a good round today, that they too could be near the podium. They too could be earning valuable championship points by the end of the afternoon. Now, Zoe Conte comes into the mix today. 2 young women riding for Rome Gladiators, doing incredibly well, and will try and stick with the Berlin Eagles, Hamburg Giants, Madrid in Motion, and Paris Panthers. Shanghai Swans are an interesting case because we know how good they were in 2021, led primarily by Max Kuhne and Christian Allman, who pulled the team along for the majority of the season. Yes, they had Marlon Bayer-Johnson towards the back end, but it was those 2 men in particular that really drove the team home. There was a Christian Allman this weekend. There was no Max Kuhne for the team. Let's remind you as to how Shanghai Swans, the runners-up in 2021, were able to perform. Christian Allman on solid gold, that 11-year-old bay doing what he does best, doing what they know best, and that is delivering clears in a very good time at 65.64. We saw that pairing succeed. Katrin Ackerman, a new rider to the team on Kalamandia, excited about her performance. And yes, a rail went down. Yes, it denied them a double clear. But much like Rome Gladiators, much like New York Empire, well, all of a sudden, Shanghai Swans find themselves in a decent position and can really see if they can push for some championship points today. They will look to try and repeat their stars of 2021, and if not, even go one step better. Based on what we saw in Miami in round 1, it certainly is possible. How do things look at the end of GCL round 1 ahead of today's second round? Well, as we said, what a surprise. Falconsville United and Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M, they're in 16th and 15th. A handful of teams on 12, including the Miami Celtics, the home team, will be disappointed by that performance, as with the London Knights, who find themselves on 12. But it's the top half of the table that becomes incredibly exciting. A large group on 4 that are firmly in contention. We know that faults will be there. Saint-Tropez Pirates, New York Empire, Rome Gladiators, and the Shanghai Swans all on 4. Just a single rail behind that leading quartet of Berlin Eagles, Hamburg Giants, Madrid in Motion, and Paris Panthers, the team in pole position, the team that will be the last to come out the gates. They will know exactly what awaits them. They will know exactly what lines up for them to go on and win this weekend. A lot will happen before they come out. They will know exactly what they need to do. Let's remind you as to how things will play out, because Falconsville United will be the first team out the gates. Laura Kraut and Edwina Tops-Alexander following that opening round of 16. The champions will be the first out the gates in their blue. They'll be followed by arguably the favourites for 2022. Or could that change? That narrative could really well change the further we go down the season. Stockholm Hearts will be second out the gates, followed by Scandinavian Vikings, Prague Lions, Cannes Stars, London Knights, Miami Celtics and the Istanbul Sultans. We will then take a break and come back to studio and give you some feedback as to what has taken place in the first half of the competition. Once we return to Miami, Saint-Tropez Pirates and New York Empire will be the first two teams to come out. Rome Gladiators will follow by Shanghai Swans, and then that quartet on double clear. Berlin Eagles, Hamburg Giants, Madrid Emotion and the Paris Panthers. Who will the winner be? Who at the end of this weekend, at this magical, unique and intimate course in Miami, will be on top of that podium to be crowned GCL champions? We will find out later on this evening. Stay with us here on GCTV. French, English, Chinese and Spanish commentary all available for you. Stay with us here. Super Saturday officially begins.